So the topic that we are going to start today is food spoilage and food preservation. As we all are going to work in a industry where food handlage is to be done by you. Since it is important, being in hospitality industry, we should know how to stop food spoilage and how to preserve food so that we can serve good food to guests. So that is what the motive or the agenda of the class is, that we'll understand what are various types of food spoilage are there and how to preserve food from those spoilages. This class will be divided into two parts. This is part one, and part two will cover in the next session. Now you see that the food undergo deterioration or spoilage from the time they are harvested. Right from the day the food or grains which are harvested from the field, they are prone to get attacked by various kind of spoilages. Okay, so we'll see how these processes happens and how we can avoid them. Food undergo various psychological, chemical, and biological changes, and which makes them unfit for human consumption. We'll see that what are various types of food spoilages are there. So in this slide, you can see that there is a microorganism. Okay, so food can be spoiled by microorganisms. There are various activities of enzymes which are present in the food. So sometimes the enzymes are good and sometimes the enzymes are bad. So either way, we need to understand what are the good enzymes and what are the bad enzymes and how they affect the food. Insect, if they attack our food can be spoiled. Then there are various parasites. So we have discussed in the previous class, there are various kinds of parasites that which live on the food of the host body, and they also affect the food that we are consuming. Then various rodents are there. So you will see that our parents used to keep in the earlier days. Our parents used to keep grains in the in big drums. Okay, so if any kind of rodent is there, maybe a mice is there, okay, that will destroy all the grains. So we need to keep all those rodents away from the food particle that we are storing. And then the temperature. Okay, so temperature is very important. No, if it is less temperature for a particular food, it will spoil the food, and if the temperature goes above a range, it will again destroy the food. So temperature is a very important factor when it comes to food spoilage. Then moisture. So various food products require a certain kind of moisture in which they can be kept for a longer time. But if that moisture content of the environment is not controlled, then the food tend to deteriorate, because the less the moisture is or the higher the moisture is, okay, there are various microorganisms that start developing. Okay, that's why it is very important to keep the moisture in control. And then oxygen, light, and time. These three are very important factors which affect the food spoilage in the food. Okay, so one by one we'll discuss all these factors and how they affect the food quality or the food spoilage. So first of all, let's talk about microorganisms. What is the role of microorganism and how they affect the food quality? As you can see on the image, this include bacteria, yeast, and molds. Okay, and these spoil the food right from the harvesting. And when the food growers or the farmers, when they are handling the food, okay, or even when they are processing the food, uh, microorganisms are are everywhere. Okay, in last class only I explained you that the yeast is already there in the environment. Okay, so similarly there are various other microorganisms which are already there in the environment, and if will not handle the food, okay, right, at the time of harvesting, or maybe during the processing of the food, or maybe at the time of storage of food grains, okay, or vegetables or the fruits, okay, our food is prone to attract spoilage. The microorganisms are found everywhere and are kept always present in to invade the flesh of animals and plants. Okay, so we are talking mostly more about the plants and the grains. Okay, but animals are also a very important food product in the hotel industry. Okay, fish, seafood, if they are not handled properly at the time of picking up them from the field, or when we are chopping them, or when we are processing them, then of course they will also be affected by various kind of microorganisms. Like when there is a cut in no, in their skin, and if the skin is weakened or diseased, so that will attract microorganism. Okay, infection will be there, and ultimately your food get spoiled. So these are the effects of microorganisms. How we can stop them, that we'll discuss when we'll be discussing the processing of uh, when we'll discuss the preservation part in the next topic. Then we have food enzymes. Okay, the food enzymes, they are present in all the animals. In our human body also, there are various kind of enzymes. When we eat food, it gets digested. Okay, now how it is being getting digested? So there are enzymes. Okay, they get activated when a certain food, which is meant for the digestion by those enzymes, they get activated, and then they digest our food. So enzyme present in the plant, in the animals. Okay, they continue to be present over there and are even intensified after harvest or slaughter. So once the grains or the vegetables or the fruit or maybe the animals, they are harvested or slaughtered, the enzymes get activated. So enzymes are responsible for facilitating many changes during the storage, such as the change in color. See that you will see that apple that you cut today, okay, now, and in 1 hour it will change its color. How it's changing its color? It's because of the enzymes being being activated, and there's a no action of oxygen on the apple, and that's how the color is changing. So similarly, in various animals and various food products, right from the harvest or slaughter, these enzymes get activated, and they change the color and texture and flavor of various food products. For example, ripening of potatoes. Okay, you have seen that the tomatoes are green. Okay, in the start, and they start converting into red. So how that's happening? That's happening because of various enzymes which are there, and they they bring the changes in the color of tomatoes. Then we have tenderizing of meat. Okay, so the meat that is young, okay, and the meat that is old, okay, the older meat is more tender. So how that's happening? Because of the enzymes which are there. So enzymes are responsible for aging, okay, of a particular food product and meat product. But if these enzymes are processed too far, okay, they result in food spoilage. That means we need to deactivate the enzymes at some point of time. For example, curdling, okay, or when we are making curd, okay, so we use enzymes to change the milk into the curd. And when this happens, okay, and if we keep the curd, okay, for a longer time outside, not in the refrigerated conditions, what will happen? It will taste more sour. Okay, so to stop the action of enzyme, we freeze it so that the enzymes are deactivated and the curd remain fresh. So similarly, in various food product and various meat product, the enzymes need to be stopped, okay, from acting on the food. Otherwise they will destroy the food. Okay, so as you can see on the image, that papaya has protease enzyme, honey has again protease enzyme, avocado has lipase enzyme, banana has amylase, and mango has amylase, and there are various other kind of enzymes which are there in various food, vegetable, and grain products. Next, we have insects, parasites, and rodents. Okay, now insects are destructive to cereal grains. So these are are like biggest enemy of cereals and grains. How they are the biggest enemies? Okay, right in the field when the crop is flourishing in the ground, you will see that the mouse traps are to be placed in the field to catch the rodents. Okay? Because they what they do, they infect the root of the cereal, and then the cereals or the grains, they do not flourish. So that's very important at the time of harvesting, and at the time of when we are plowing the cereals. Okay, we keep a tap on know what are the rodents which are present in the field, and they should not affect the quality of cereal or grain or vegetable that we are growing. The loss of food due to insect destruction varies from 5 to 50%. Okay, it's a huge percentage. Almost 5 to 50% of the grains, they get destroyed because of various kinds of insect, pesticides, and rodents. Insects are generally controlled by fumigation. Okay, that you have seen that during the rainy seasons, we apply fumigation so that the mosquitoes are not there. Similarly, in the fields also, we apply ethylene oxide and propylene oxide so that various kinds of rodents and insect, okay, they die, so that they do not affect the quality of grain which is there in the field. Parasitic food spoilage occur in some foods. Okay, now what is this parasitic food spoilage? For example, pig eat uncooked food waste. Okay, the parasite nematode penetrate the pig's intestine and find its way into the pork. It's very important. Okay, it is very important that when we are cooking the pork, okay, pork meat, we cook it thoroughly. Otherwise, these the parasites which are there in the intestine of pork, they will survive and they will enter to the human. Okay, so it's very important. The live worms can infect a man if the pork is not thoroughly cooked. Okay, so that's very important. Entamoeba histolytica is responsible for amoebic dysentery. Okay, now what is amoebic dysentery? It is kind of indigestion that happens in the human body. So this parasite, which is Entamoeba histolytica, it is responsible for amoebic dysentery. This organism contaminate food when raw human excreta are used as fertilizer for crop. Okay, so this particular pesticide is present in the strata, okay, or the waste of human beings. And when we the villagers, they go to the field for excretion, and when they uh, that those excretion get mixed with the soil, and the parasites survive. Okay, by chance if survive, it infect the food product which is being grown in the field. No, they are also responsible for spreading the parasites. Most of the time, what happens when we cook food to a certain temperature, all these parasites, insect, and rodents get killed. But if we do not follow the cooking procedures, then they can survive. Okay. Now, rodents contribute substantially to food spoilage. For example, rats, okay, rodent urine, dripping harbor, and several kind of diseases happens because of these. Okay, so you must have heard about typhoid, plague, and typhus fever. So all these are basically because of various kinds of rodents which spread the infection from one place to another place. Okay, so they travel from house to house, and that's how they transfer the disease, and that's how various kind of pandemics have happened because of these rodents. Okay, there was a pandemic by rats. So we need to take care of all these things. Wide that could be in the hotel, that could be in the storage houses, in the warehouses. Okay, so wherever possible, we should keep tab on all these insects, parasites, and rodents. Next important thing is temperature. So the temperature, how the temperature affect the food. Okay, so heat and cold contribute to food spoilage if not controlled. The rate of chemical reaction double itself for every 10 degrees Celsius. It's very important. The rate of chemical reaction. Now, I believe that you all are learning wines and spirits also. Okay, so I'll explain you in that manner. The fermentation which takes place for making whiskey or wines or any other alcoholic beverage. Okay, it is done in approximately 2 weeks, 10 days sometime. Okay, but if the temperature is high, the same fermentation can be finished in 7 days. Okay, so temperature affect the processes. It increases the process. Okay, as it is said that at every 10 degrees Celsius, rise in temperature will double the enzymatic reaction, will double the fermentation reaction, and so on. Excessive heat brings about protein denaturation. Okay, now everybody is cooking, everybody cook egg at home. Okay, and what happens when we cook egg? If we increase the temperature, what will happen? The protein denaturated. Okay, and it will start getting chewy. Okay, so if you cook egg for a longer time, the protein will start getting chewy. Similarly, for meat product, is chicken. You will cook it for a longer time, it will not be good for consumption. Okay, so right temperature is required for processing any kind of food product. It is similar for fruits, vegetable, and everything. Then we have moisture. Moisture, as I explained in the first slide, it affects various kind of food product. Now, food with high percentage of water is spoiled fast, and perishable food have high water content. Okay, now how do you understand this? Okay, have you seen that no, when we store grains? Okay, if you have this practice at home. My mother, when she store wheat, okay, what she do first, she put all the wheat on a roof, okay, and get it under sunlight. And once they are dry, then she store it into the drums. What happens with this? The moisture content reduces and the shelf life increases. If I will store it right, bringing from the field and then put it into the drum, what will happen? There is more moisture content, and there are more chances of various kind of bacteria and fungus that will be attracted towards the cereals. So moisture is very important to control while storing food product. And then we have oxygen, light, and time, and how these three affect the food product. Air and oxygen bring about a number of changes in the food component, such as destruction of food color. Okay, so as I gave the example of apple. Okay, so this apple, how this apple is turning reddish or brownish in color, that's because the iron is attacking the apple, and the the oxygen is attacking the apple, and the iron which is there in the apple is getting reacted, and it convert into ferrous oxide, and ferrous oxide is the brownish in color. That's how the apple is brown in color. Okay, so similarly, various food product right after the cutting or maybe harvesting are prone to changes by the oxygen, by the light, and by the time. Okay, flavors like vitamin A and vitamin C, okay, they are very much affected by the oxygen. Oxygen is to be excluded from in the course of processing while de-aeration, vacuum packaging of flushing container with nitrogen and oxide. Okay, so what does this mean? So if you are buying a Lay's, okay, a Lay's packet chips, and if there is oxygen inside, we will not be able to keep the Lay's packet for such a long time. So what happens during at this stage of processing of packaging, all the oxygen is to be removed from the packet, and what we fill is nitrogen or carbon dioxide. Okay, so we fill the pack with the nitrogen. So that fluffy pack that you see of Lay's is basically filled with nitrogen, so that no moisture goes inside, no oxygen goes inside, because oxygen or the nitrogen is lighter than the food product, so it remains on the top. Okay, and it doesn't let the oxygen get in. That's how these packets can have a shelf life of 6 months or 1 year. Okay, that's because of nitrogen. And all these bottles which are airtight, okay, they all have nitrogen inside them, and that's how they are protected. The light destroy vitamin B2, A, and C. Okay, so that's a fact. It also deteriorate many food colors. Okay, food may be protected from light by improving the packaging of the container. Okay, so you will see that various food products, there are very less food products which come in the transparent bottles. Okay, most of the food product comes in kind of grayish bottle, greenish bottle, reddish bottle, so that the light does not enter inside the bottle or the packet, and they are safe from the effect of light. Okay. The food spoilage is time dependent. Of course, if a particular reaction, if a fermentation requires 10 days to complete, and if we do it for 20 days, it of course will affect the quality of food. If the storage is to be done for 2 months, and if we store less than that, it will affect the quality of food. Okay, if the chicken is to be cooked for 20 minutes, okay, at 200 degrees Celsius, but if we cook it less than that, and if we cook more than that, okay, it will affect the quality of food. So similarly, time is a very crucial factor while considering the food spoilage. Okay, and then how to do food safety at home. Okay, so you can apply all these factors which have been explained, okay, on the top, and combining all of them will help you to do a good food safety standards at your home. Okay, and most important is personal hygiene. Okay, so we are talking about the hygiene of food. We are talking about the rodents, bacteria, pesticide, and everything. But the important thing is that we should keep sanitized ourselves also. Okay, so since we have talked about all these microorganisms and the factors which affect the food quality, now we'll also talk about how the cereal product can be kept safe for a longer time. Okay, so wheat flour, okay, is very much attracted to bacteria, and that is Bacillus, Sarcina, Micrococcus, molds, Aspergillus, Penicillium. Okay, so these are kind of various kinds of bacteria, okay, that attack the wheat flour. But how we can keep it safe? As I explained above, if we store it in an airtight container, that will protect it. If we keep the oxygen away, okay, from the container, that will also protect it. And if we are processing or we are buying the wheat flour, we should buy a limited quantity, as much is required. We should not store it, okay, for much longer days. So that way also we can protect the wheat flour. Then the cornmeal is very much prone to molds, and molds like Fusarium, Penicillium, they can attack the cornmeal, and the similar way it can also be protected. Then we have bread. A freshly baked loaf is practically free of viable microorganisms. Why? Because it has been exposed to higher temperature, and that kills all the bacteria and germs and microorganisms in the bread. But mold spores contaminate during the cooking and before wrapping. okay, slicing by the knife. Okay, so if we are not using a proper knife, okay, and it is not clean knife, it will affect. It will bring the microbes to the bread, and that will affect the quality of bread. So as I explained, the food hygiene at home or at kitchen is very important. That the equipment that we are using, okay, should be free from all kind of mold and everything, and that way only we can serve good quality food to guest in the restaurant or in the hotel. Okay. Next is milk and milk product. Milk product are no right when we are taking it out from the animal. It is very much prone, okay, to attack to get attacked by various kind of microorganisms. Okay, maybe it is butter, cheese, ice cream, and all. So we can keep the area sanitized, and wherever the animal is, it should be washed properly, and we should store the milk at the right temperature, and that's how we can avoid any kind of milk spoilage. Meat is again, okay, right when we are cutting the milk meat, it is very much prone for all kind of microbial activities. Okay, the healthy inner flesh meat contain few or no microorganism. Okay, because the meat was healthy. Okay, but as soon as we cut it, okay, it is prone to various kind of infections. Okay, normal slaughtering practices would remove lymph nodes from edible part. Okay, contamination come from external sources. Okay, that is most of the infection happens at the time of okay. uh, it will affect the quality of food. Okay, quality of meat. If the knife that we are using or the chopper that we are using to cut the meat, if it is not clean, it will affect the quality of meat. Okay, so when we are cutting the meat, we should keep in mind that we are using the right kind of equipment and they are sanitized properly. Okay, but most of the infection happens at the time of uh, the meat is bleeding. Okay, and you must have seen we hung the meat upside down. Okay, and then there is rigor mortis. If that practice is not applied, the meat is prone to infections. So that process is applied so that all the blood which is there, okay, that get drained out. Okay, so that's how we can have spoilage free meat. Okay, and then we have various other kind of food product like eggs, fruits, and vegetables, and the process is same. If we keep the things in proper and in proper standard operating procedures, no infection, no spoilage will happen. Similarly, for canned product, a canned product, it is very important that they are stored, okay, properly, because all the canned products are free from oxygen, and if there is oxygen in the canned product, it will destroy the product. So they should be stored properly, and there should be nitrogen inside it, and that's how we can protect the canned product also. So that's it from my side, and now we are open to question and answers.